everyone. Welcome to Our Two Cents. I'm your host, Clinton Smith. I'm here with our president and financial advisor at GCES, Galen Bargerstock, and our financial advisor, Levi Allison. And today we are talking about the top tips for the financial procrastinator. Guys, how are you?
Great.
Yeah, doing good? Another day in paradise.
Marvelous day.
Yeah, I will say, it's not a surprise, or we've said it before. We come out to Phoenix to record these episodes. It is hot in Pennsylvania right now, but it is even hotter out here.
It is.
So thank you for air conditioning, universe. Yeah. So guys, we're talking about the top tips for the financial procrastinator. And I know we went over this morning. There's not really another good name for procrastinator or another good word.
No.
Yeah, definitely nothing that starts with an F that could have been catchier than top tips for the financial procrastinator. But regardless, I am a known procrastinator.
For sure, you are, 100%.
Oh, okay. Call me out. All right, then let's keep going with that. What are the things that I procrastinate on?
Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff would be something simple like whenever we write the shows for this, we write the shows right before the episode, even though we know we have 4 months to do it, preparing for time. But, wing it.
Okay, so I feel personally attacked by that one. How about you, Levi?
Something that I procrastinate on?
Yeah, sure.
Definitely financially, when you have to pay a bill or check your checking account, a credit card, you just put it off.
Yeah.
It's not the first thing that comes to mind when you have everything else going on in your life.
Yeah. So here's a top tip that isn't even on our list of things for the financial procrastinator. One thing that I've learned to do, because I am not a great person at paying bills. So I recently learned to put everything on auto pay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, which has saved me, multiple late fees every month.
Yeah.
Just because I don't decide every day I'm going to pay bills on the 15th of the month. Well, that's 15 days that some stuff is already hit that then I'm paying, and those are all late. And sometimes, it might not be until the 25th or 27th that I'm like, okay, let's pay bills.
Yeah.
So putting stuff on auto pay is really a good tip. If you're able to put stuff on auto pay, definitely do it. The thing that you have to watch out for that, though, is if you spend a ton of money on your credit card, your auto payment is going to be a lot bigger than what you might expect. So definitely make sure that if you're putting anything on credit cards that you're paying attention, hey, I have that coming up.
Yeah. It's a lot different from what watching our parents do to pay bills to what we do to pay bills because of the technology behind everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I've been doing our accounting for probably 10 years now. And there was 1 month that I used to send a ton of checks in, which is a lot more work. So auto pay and paying stuff online is so much easier, especially for anyone that's going to be procrastinating in doing it. It's so much easier to do it online. And this might be going a little bit too deep in it. Like my mom growing up, she had, those like white and black composition books?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That you can't even tear the page out. She would literally just write in that bills.
Yep.
And then every month she would just write out the check, write it in her book, write out the check, write it in her book. And she knew every month she'd look at the month before and figure out what she had to pay. That way in case you missed something in the mail, you could pay it still. Yep. But me, I do the same thing in an Excel file. So thank you, Mom. I do everything in an Excel file. I have the first column is, the bill. Is it a credit card, mortgage, whatever? And then I even, to make it easier on your computer, just put a column, and you can do this for free in Google Sheets. Everyone can get a Google account. Do a column of the website that you have to go to pay it. Or if I pay it by check, I'll put in check in that column. And then the next one is literally the website that I have to click on. So I can just click on it, go to the website. The next thing is the username. The next thing is the password.
Yeah.
So you can't make it easy.
No, the bills still want paid. It doesn't matter what the process is to get there.
Yeah.
The electric company still wants the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, these are really top level things that people can do relatively easy. Mm-hmm. The first would be make a budget. What kind of things, Levi, do you think people should be considering when they're making their budget and creating it?
The things that you're going to spend money on every single month. So you know that you're going to have food, you're going to have electric, gas, insurances. So the base expenses you want to have laid out without a doubt, and then the price range of where you're at. And then the other things, so if you're going out to dinner, vacation, you want to be able to build those into your budget as well as you're going along and doing this.
Yeah. So I know that you work with people all the time going over their expenses, both of you. Mm-hmm. What do you think is the most common place where people don't actually understand how much they're paying? I actually know the answer to this, but I want to hear you say it.
Most common place where people don't know where their money's going?
Well, where you'll say, how much do you spend on this every month? And they're like, $50.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where people are getting some of these food prices that they tell me, because I know how much it is to go to the grocery store. So I think the food is what I get told is the lowest amount, when it's really probably double or triple, because that's what ours is, and that's completely fine. You should just be honest about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a lot of people, it also adds up throughout the month and you're not paying attention to it. For us, I know it really adds up over the month because we go to the grocery store every day. It's part of our day. Yeah. I'm not that person. I don't know how people honestly sit at home and are like, I know what I'm going to eat on Thursday of this week, and I'm going to pick it up on Sunday. Yeah. Do you do that?
No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to day of, a couple days before.
Is that because your mom still does your grocery shopping?
Exactly.
Shout out to Mary Jo. So knowing your expenses, another one, and I know I've seen you go over this with people, you know, we worked a lot with federal employees. We started in this business with federal employees. We know the ins and outs of federal employees, retirement, pensions, all their benefits, all the paperwork that they need to do. But the one thing that we always start out with everyone that they get every 2 weeks is their paycheck.
Yeah.
How many? I know that you go over things where people are like, I didn't know what that was on my paycheck, and they've been paying it for 20 years, having no idea what the deductions are on their paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a federal or a state employee in Pennsylvania, I can look at your paycheck and I can tell you exactly where your money is going and what you have without even having the conversation with you, because I can see all the lines and where everything's getting moved to.
Yeah.
And you're probably getting pretty comfortable with that as well.
Yeah, because you know exactly what they have, but they're still unaware of they're paying for this insurance, this extra allotment to a bank that they don't even know where it's at.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good to understand your paycheck, because then you know what's coming in, what's coming out.
Yeah. Listen, if you're a federal employee sitting at home right now, press pause if you have that on your TV. I don't know what stations we play on, but if your TV has pause it, go grab your paycheck and literally look down your deductions right now. If you don't know what they are, give us a call. A lot of times, I know you guys come into people where they have no idea what the deduction is, and it's like $40 or $20 or $30. It's not like the union dues that most people do know what it is. What's that process you go through to figure it out very easily?
Well, I mean, over the years, I just memorized all of the codes. So, I mean, I know the codes, but there's a sheet we have that would say what actually every deduction would be. But it's just, you know, glancing at it. And the one you're talking about is how much that a federal employee pays for a pension. It's like, it depends on what year you were hired to what dollar amount you're paying to what percentage to have a pension. But nobody really knows what that line is going out of their federal paycheck. They're just like, all right, well, somebody's taking $20 or somebody's taking $94, but they don't really know why. And there's another number on the paycheck that actually is the total of all of that money. And people are like, wow, space man.
Yeah, well, that's it. I remember, you know, when we started this company, we started this in our kitchen, you know, and I set appointments for the first 2 or 3 years that we started GCES. And when I was talking to people about their paychecks, of what Galen would go over in their paycheck, we would always bring up that number on the bottom right-hand corner. Everyone thinks it's what they're going to make a month from their pension, but it is what they have paid in to have their pension over the years of their time as a federal employee. And just to make it more confusing, they only update it once a year.
The first check of every year they update it just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. So if you're a federal employee at home watching this and you need help understanding, we can go over your paycheck, help you figure out what all of your deductions are for. Just give a call to the number on the screen, 888-391-3465. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, guys, we're going to continue going over top tips for the financial procrastinator. See you in just a moment.
To me, a successful retirement isn't measured by money or amount of dollars that people have. We measure it more on happiness.
If you haven't started your retirement journey, it's good to actually just take the first step. You know, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to commit to anything if you don't want to, but just taking the first step of reaching out and finding out what you have and then going from there. You have to know what you have to know where you're going.
Start it sooner rather than later is probably the biggest thing that I would say to people. A lot of people want to wait until they're right at the edge of retirement, and there's not a lot that we can do for a client whenever you want to retire in 30 days. 5 to 10 years before retirement is a lot better. We can do a lot more for people.
The best advice that I can always give somebody is just take the first step and, you know, reach out and ask questions. You know, you're not going to know what to do or what to expect until you ask the questions, and it's non-judgment at our office, so ask away. Retirement planning can feel overwhelming. we make it simple because you deserve a future you can feel confident about.
Since 2010, we've helped thousands of federal employees, teachers, and healthcare workers and professionals in every field navigate their TSPs, their 401ks, their pension, as well as take care of long-term planning.
A secure retirement isn't just about savings. It's about having a strategy that protects your health, builds your wealth, and supports your happiness.
We want to build that plan together with you. There's no stress, no sales gimmicks, just a team that cares. Welcome back, everyone. This is Our 2 Cents. I am your host, Clinton Smith. I am here with our financial advisors, Levi Allison and Galen Bargerstock. Guys, I'd ask you how you're doing, but you already told me a couple minutes ago you're doing good.
Still doing good. Yeah.
Still doing good. Yeah. Still okay. That commercial break was all right.
Yeah.
Lots of trains in that commercial. So we're talking about top tips for the financial procrastinator. Things that are easy to do that will not take you a long time that can put you on the right track. The next one is really important, and it's know how much you are spending monthly on insurance.
Yeah.
You come across this all the time. People are paying for an insurance they don't have, they don't want. But what's even worse is when they're paying for insurance that would never actually pay them out. Can you give me an example of that?
Of paying for insurance that'll never pay out?
Sick leave.
Well, sick leave, yeah. I mean, what I would say for paying for something that's not going to pay out is a lot of times people will elect the life insurance with employer benefits or with whatever employer they're at, and they will have a spousal plan on there to protect their spouse. Well, now if you got a divorce, you're paying for a spouse that you don't have, so that if they pass away, you're not going to get any of that money. So very common, especially with anybody that had a divorce, you should have a little checkup just to go over your deductions.
Yeah, and we really recommend that, guys. Our whole deal of meeting with you and having these conversations is because we want you to work with us as your financial advisors. You can call the number on the screen at any time during this episode and set yourself up with an appointment in under 10 minutes to meet with one of our financial advisors to really get an understanding of the things that you have going on in your finances and your retirement. If you're a procrastinator, just call us tomorrow. If you're on top of things, please give us a call today. The next one, we talked about this a little bit in an episode or at some point in our life. Consider refinancing to lowering your expenses.
Yeah.
This is sometimes a very difficult one to get done. I myself I know the last time whenever the rates were low, we were like, hey, let's refinance, let's do it now. By the time the bank got the appraisal done, got everything in order, rates had already went up to the point where it was all for nothing.
And it didn't make sense for us to do it. Yeah. So there's a lot involved with refinancing, whether it be, your car, your home, your annuity. We can get into that too. But refinancing is just taking a look at what you have and seeing if you can make it better for yourself and save yourself some money. Not just save yourself some money, but maybe get yourself some more money at the same time.
Yeah. And Levi, our next point, you actually brought this up yesterday. Whenever people are always in a very conservative allocation in their 401k or whatever it is that they're investing in, by the time they get to retirement, they are not going to have as much money as someone who was risky and more aggressive the entire time. Can you tell me how many times you've really come across this already in working with people?
Yeah, seeing people that, you get to the finish line and you're disappointed because you didn't want to take the risk. You have to take the risk in your 30s and 40s especially. Once you get to your 50s, you could kind of start to calm it down a little bit, obviously as you get older, but in your 30s and 40s, you kind of have to go for it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get ahead if you don't. But yeah, there's very, very often seeing people that didn't go for it, then are upset with the amount that they have once they get there.
Yeah, and Galen, how many times, I know that you've seen this. What do you think is the financial difference? Someone that's conservative ends up with about this versus someone that has been risky their entire career ends up with about this much. What do you think that difference is between those two people?
So I can give you a very good example. So let's say that a person is making about $75,000 to $80,000 a year. And if they're putting in 5% of their paycheck and they're getting 5% matching, and they're putting it in the safe stuff, in a 30-year time frame, you're going to have, about maybe 170, 190, somewhere in that ballpark. And then somebody that is 100% risk, put the needle the whole way up, same 30-year period, same job, same position, maybe 900, 1.3 million.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey,
so
guys,
huge.
That is a huge amount of money. So we're talking almost like $700,000 difference in the same position, same time period. And guys, we know these numbers because whether you are a letter carrier here or a letter carrier there, you know, we work with federal employees. They all have the same allocations. We're talking about federal employees that are in the G fund versus what are the other funds that are more aggressive?
C fund,
The
S
C
fund.
fund, the S fund, the I fund international.
Yeah.
You know.
So all of this, though, comes down to, and we have to say this, you can't just go risky. Don't decide because you watch this episode that you're going to put all of your funds into risky things. You really need to do a risk analysis. What is involved in a risk analysis, and you know, how can someone determine their risk analysis right now at home? What are the steps to do that?
You know, any financial advisor is going to ask you some basic questions, or a good one is going to ask you some basic questions to know where you should be at in the market. To me, I need to know a couple staples. I need to know how old you are. I need to know how long you want to go until retirement, your time
So
horizon.
let's start with how old you are. Let's just break it down there.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Obviously someone that's 30 is going to be able to be more risky.
Yeah. It's just like life. You have the time is on your side. So the younger you are, the more time you have that if the market does drop, that the market is going to pick back up, which the market has never not come back up. We all have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
But you know, the younger you are, the more risky you can be because there's more time that you're going to be in the market.
This might be a weird question and also slightly not have a right answer for it, but Levi, do you think that with being a 30-year-old, is there ever a time that they should be all conservative? Like, is there any time that shows up where someone in their 30s needs to be conservative with their investments?
If we got to a point where it was like obviously coming into a recession and you're somebody who follows the stock market all the time and you want to get ahead of it, yeah, you could save yourself a lot of money by stopping yourself there, pausing, going to cash bonds, then coming back in when you feel the market has dipped down to its lowest point.
Yeah.
But other than that, no. I mean, just because where you're going to get the huge gains, the huge compounds, is when you're buying in when the market's low. So that's where all the big gains come from down the road.
So again, another point is that people, if the market is going down, do not jump ship right away.
No.
How does that work? Can you explain that?
Think of everything like a tidal wave. So you just have to kind of ride it out. You know, the market's going to go up and down. You have to just be prepared to go up and down with it, because if you are going down and you lock in all of the money, you just established and you locked in that loss. So if the market comes back up the next day and you aren't in those funds and the market came back up 2% in a day, which it has this year, you just lost that 2%.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to be careful, especially if you don't know what you're doing, if you're messing around with this stuff. So risk tolerance is kind of like a set it and forget it autopilot type of thing.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get more into how to determine your risk at home. But the easiest thing for anyone to do is to not do this on their own. That's why we do this whole show. It's why we do what we do. You can call the number on the screen during this break. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to set up your appointment. 888-391-3465. We will see you in just a moment.
Galen actually was the one to get me into it. I worked in restaurants before this, and I really take a lot of that into what we do at GCES. We kind of run it similar to a restaurant. We want our clients to be happy and enjoy their time that they have with us and really take care of them to the best of our abilities. So restaurants led into this, and it was a really easy switch for me. The things that I enjoy about the financial world is honestly being able to take care of clients. A lot of times, whenever we first talk to them, they're a little bit apprehensive. You know, people don't feel comfortable talking to strangers about their personal finances, and people are already kind of on guard at the beginning before we even meet with them. I like knowing that we give people peace of mind whenever our agents or our financial advisors meet with them, where they understand more of what they have, because a lot of people don't understand the things that they have. So really, whenever we work with clients, it's about building trust with them and them understanding that we understand what we're doing. And it's really all about us having knowledge. So when we work with clients, it's all about us educating them on the things that they have and helping them understand the things that they have in their retirement. And that ends up bringing the guard down and makes them a lot more comfortable, and actually a lot of times gives them a lot more of a positive outlook on the rest of their life and what retirement actually looks like for them.
Welcome back to R2 Cents. I'm your host, Clinton Smith. I'm here with our financial advisor, Galen Bargerstock and Levi Allison, and we are talking all about top tips for the financial procrastinator. which I'm not calling anybody out by this list by any means. I am totally a procrastinator. You know, I'm 41. We just set up our 401k in the last year and a half.
For the company.
Yeah. So no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone, guys. Everyone is on their own journey in life, and that includes their financial journey as well. We're just here to try to discuss stuff to open up that thought for you guys of thinking about your finances. You know, if you're a procrastinator, you and I are in the same boat. I am not judging you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm a procrastinator. What did I do today that you're like, oh, OCD won't let you down? I'm more
You
of that.
fixed all of the pillows in the hotel for housekeeping to later fix the pillows in the hotel room.
I wanted to have a bed made while we were enjoying the room for the day.
For the last 5 minutes while we hurried up and got ready to come record these episodes.
Yeah, so I don't think I'm a procrastinator. I'm an overachiever at some stuff.
Yeah, we can call it an OCD. You know, it's fine. We can use that word. Yeah. So, Levi, we're talking about risk analysis. You know, if someone's 30, there's most likely that they're going to be more risky. As you get older, it gets less risky. What's another thing that people use to determine how risky they should be?
Just their basic mentality of how much do you want to make. You know, what percentage do you have in mind that you're comfortable with? Do you want to make 20% every year, or do you want to make 4% like you're in a CD at a bank? It all depends on how much you want to make. So that's pretty much the main thing after you get age, net worth, and then your investable balance is seeing what's your goal to make.
Yeah. I'd assume time horizon to retirement also has a lot to do with it. How far away are you from retirement? How far before retirement do you think that everyone wants to kind of peel back on being risky to make sure that they are not going to be upset by the market making any drastic moves?
I think it's about 4 years, like a presidential term.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of people people are very political now. I mean, it's as political as it gets, and I sound like Trump saying that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's as big as it gets. But yeah, people are nervous, you know, both ways. In 2028 or 2024, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And then also, if that's in their retirement window, they get really scared.
Yeah.
So that's when you see people really start to come all the way back out or all the way in.
Yeah, we do see this, you know, in dealing with people and their retirement and finances. We do see that during election times, people are less likely to make decisions. There has been a lot going on this last year. You know, tariffs are on, tariffs are off again, possible war looming. There's a lot of things going on where people are not comfortable making those decisions, but regardless, things have to happen. So you might be forced into making that decision in a time that you're not exactly comfortable doing so, which is why we're doing what we do. Give a call to the number on the screen, 888-391-3465. Don't be a procrastinator. You can literally make the appointment in 5 minutes and be on the right track to making sure that your retirement is what it should be. So with all of this being said, they're doing this whole thing called a risk analysis to decide how risky they can be inside of their 401k and inside of their funds. Let's say someone finds out, hey, I should be a little bit riskier. I'm comfortable also with being risky, because it's not just black and white. It has to do with their emotions, I'm assuming, too.
It is. Yeah, there's also people that won't invest in certain things because of religious beliefs. So there's a whole lot that we have to take into consideration to help a person get the portfolio the way they want, because they might not want to invest into a certain company because of, you know, I don't know, child labor laws or something stupid, you know? So it's not stupid, but you know what I mean?
Got that on camera. So in the end, ultimately, what we're trying to say here is take a look at how you're investing right now. Take a look and see how risky you are, because for the procrastinator, this is something huge. You know, you can procrastinate all you want, but if you do it for 30 years, it's going to be hard to fix that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you want to be risky, you can set it now. And now federal employees, I remember this because I had a TSP, they can set it up where it automatically gets less and less risky as they get older. Can you sum that up for me?
So pretty much what you're talking about is any kind of employer 401k has target date managements. And that's a target date as if you're going to retire around 2055. So that's the target. You're more aggressive whenever you're younger, and as you age, it automatically makes you more conservative.
Yeah. Excellent.
They're great funds.
And this is something you can help everyone out with, I'm assuming? Yeah. So what kind of things do you think other people procrastinate with?
Life insurance is a big one
Life insurance?
of, rising costs, and they do not get it changed just because it's on there and they don't know how to do it and it's not very clear on how to go change it. So that's one that we see probably the most.
Or making a decision about something that we would tell to somebody, a recommendation that we might make. It's like, yes, I hear you. That is something that I need to do, and I plan on doing it, but not today.
Are there any specific ages that someone needs to be like, hey, this is the time, I need to check back in on things?
I think that the time when is most appropriate is the time that nobody really does it. And that would be whenever you are first entering on to that job. That's the best time to get everything established. You get the baseline in there, and then you're set up correct at the very beginning. So new hire employees are the ones that I can help the most in that aspect of how much money you're going to make. And people think, I don't need a financial advisor. I don't have any money at all. I'm just starting a job. The reality is, I would be able to talk to you and guide you so you do have that larger account value later on in life. So there's always a time you should talk to somebody.
Yeah. And Levi, I know that you've been working with people long enough that you've seen this on the day-to-day basis. How often have you walked into a household where their risk analysis is not correct, or they could have been doing more? How often do you see that?
A lot. I talk to people and they have a score up in the 70s or 60s, but then their own personal account, they're at 0.
Yeah.
So seeing that is kind of disappointing because they do know that they should be going for it. They just didn't know what fund they were ever in.
And I'm sure we've talked about this before. Geographically, this also has to deal with differences. In Pennsylvania, we have a pretty good mix of, we have Pittsburgh, we have Philly, then we have all that in between that is like super country. So there's a good mix of people that are conservative versus people that are more risky in Pennsylvania. But we see it in Ohio. Ohio is traditionally a lot more conservative.
Yes.
But the Northeast, Massachusetts, Connecticut is a lot more risky. And people in Massachusetts and Connecticut are retiring with a lot more money than people are in Ohio because of how they've done stuff throughout their career.
It's the cost of living. People know what the cost of living, and they're like, oh man, I got to get in gear. Stuff is expensive here.
Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for joining us. Give a call to the number on the screen, 888-391-3465. We want to be your financial advisors. All you have to do is give us a call. See you next week.